right? Like you could music, all that. Uh, yeah, I'm skipping part of the intro because I'm ready now, and I don't have all that much time. Hence why it's titled a quickie chat. Uh, oh, what's going on? I don't know why you don't see me on camera. 1 second. Open. Oh, no. Why is that gone? It deleted it. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Hi. Good morning. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and I obviously need more caffeine. I hope you're doing well. Um, Figured out. You can see me now. You can see the doggo now. We're golden. We're golden. We're golden. Uh, so just a quickie chat. Like there's nothing like big or anything I wanted to hit. There's just something I kind of came across that I thought would be interesting to share some points on. What did I title this? I titled it Hopes, Dreams, and Industry. Yes. Okay. So yeah, there's quite a few subjects to hit here. I have 40 minutes, maybe an hour at most, which is a quickie for our channel. Um, so let's chat about what kind of started that. I would like to. Let's see. We'll go over here, and then you'll see me. Look at me. Yeah, look at that fella. All right, I'm gonna go over here. Oh, I had it open and then I undid it. 1 second, because again, you think you're ready, you just jump on into it, and you're left here. 1 second then. Let me see if I can find it, because that would be disappointing. If I cannot, but it shouldn't be hard. It was a hell of a thing. And I think it's a good sparking point for some discussion that, it took me years to figure out. So I'm sure it kind of probably has hit others, or not hit others, right? Like there's always new generations coming in and thinking otherwise. So here we go. It's a thread by Jim Zub. He's done a lot of really cool work. I've really appreciated. There was a particular like D&D series from Boom I really liked. I forgot its title already. Um, but he's done a lot of stuff. He's worked in the industry for a while and seems to be a relatively chill cat compared to how a lot of some pros can be. So yeah, I think it's worth following. He does try and give back more than a lot of pros do, and I always appreciate that because there is a definite lack of mentorship in comics, period. Like you're very lucky if you find somebody who actually wants to take you under their wing. And this is that kind of feeds into this, right? Hopes, dreams, success, and industry. Well, we will be cutting success out of that. I don't know why I said success. Because that's not like that's a component that would come later. This has to do with something very much at the beginning of all of this. So yeah, no, Mike's getting. All right, so he got a message last night, and I'm sure a lot of professionals get these messages. Um, you understand the desire to throw a Hail Mary and see what happens, but um, I've totally felt those as well, right? In fact, I've made those, but not to major industry pros. I've done it to folks who I've at least have a slight acquaintance ship with, right? And never for this. And this is the part, right? You don't know this person's age. You don't know how they're thinking about these things and why it's so important to them. But obviously, it is important enough to them to feel like they could be making an ass out of themselves, but they got to do it anyway. That's a lot of art, to be fair. And it's a great brave step to take. It's just dumb. It's not gonna hurt you per se, but it's not it's it walks the line between dumb and naive. I think it is mostly naive, but it's kind of dumb too. Hate to say it. So Jibs Up kind of goes over it. So no one gets to just pitch an idea to a big entertainment publishing company off the cuff. NDAs get signed before anything gets pitched, and that's very true. These systems are very precise and rigid. The last conversation we had on the channel yesterday was about another aspect of that rigidity of the industry. If you cannot see that rigidity and you keep trying to approach a business machine as an artist, there's some ways you can do it, no question. But those ways are not obvious, I would assume, or else a lot of people would be able to. And this is a obvious potential way, right? So right there, that's a red flag. If there's an obvious way for you to put this hope directly to somebody, it's likely not the way it's going to be able to get done. Just right off the bat. And like what do I know, right? From my position. So we're gonna go off of Zub here, not so much me, but I will be sharing thoughts on that because I have done this grind. I spent and still have over the years. Basically, every year I have sent pitch documents and all of that to independent publishers, not even big guys, and pitch documents, things that are well set up, and try and sell the ideas I have. Not so much this, which is you start off calling it dumb, and if you feel it's dumb, it's probably dumb. Um, Probably a really dumb thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm just in that place mentally, I guess. We do get it. Everybody gets there. I get it. Hi, sir. Love your work. I would like to inquire about the best way for me to pitch an idea to Marvel. Is it an email or fax? Again, I'm sorry to ask like this. I know this is not how things are supposed to work. It's not how things work at all. I'm not even saying I would be a writer. I just want to pitch an idea. It's not, okay. Uh, and I know it'll be rejected, yes, but I just have to try. I have to try. Okay. If you're willing to take the time to read this and want to hear it, I can tell you the idea. Again, thank you for reading this. Sorry to bother you. I also apologize for the horrible formatting for this message. Hope the message made sense. So it, of course, makes sense. Like it wasn't the rambling incoherency, but my guess is this is a kid. I could very well be wrong, but it comes off as a kid who the naivety just oozes from it. As he says, no one gets to pitch an idea to a big entertainment company off the cuff. No, they want to work with you, and then you figure that out. That's usually how it goes. You don't. Everybody wants to work with them, quote unquote, right? It's not everybody, but quote unquote, everybody wants to work with these big companies because it's the best opportunity for financial gain and notoriety in this industry. So right off the bat there, like there are hundreds of thousands of people who would love to be in Zub's shoes, for instance. Uh, so yeah, again, that's not how it works. So let's keep going because he was pretty precise in how he handled this situation. There's a lot of ways. So let's go here. And this is true too, like from the creator standpoint, in fact. And I love how he starts from the creator standpoint, right? No writer wants to execute a random person's story idea. Just right off the bat, he says that. And that's so true. It could be the most amazing idea ever. But since it's their gig and Marvel or DC wanted to work with them, they want to execute their idea. It's how it works. If you have your own idea, sadly, you're not going to be able to do it with these major IPs unless you get to that position where they want to work with you on those major IPs. It's not a two-way street on the desire, right? You can want all you want to work with them, but you better be working your ass off to be able to do that. And that's again, this we talked about the industry yesterday on a smaller bit where it was the um, lockout of using the term manga for Westerners. It's just another aspect of how the industry works. It's another mechanic that, again, I'm guessing this is a kid. Because anybody who's gone through any kind of artistic business understands that like this is not how things go. But it is good that Zub is kind of discussing this as civilly as possible and hitting the points very precisely because, again, I would say mainly kids again aren't gonna understand that this is a meat grinder, not so much a magical gift tree. It's the best way to put it. They want sausage out the other end. They don't want to be like raising the next amazing group of artists. That's not their goal. Their goal is to make money. First and foremost, they need to survive to create anything, let alone something amazing. Um, um, and even hear it. That's the other bit. They don't want to do it, first off, right? Like, why would you? This is your opportunity with these big companies. Why would you give it to somebody else, right? And even if it's just in small part. Um, and if they develop anything even remotely similar, and I've heard this many times, they might open themselves up to legal or just all around ethical hassles, which is so true. That's the thing with like cons and stuff too. Like they they can't really even listen to that kind of stuff. It would be great to engage with fans on these hypotheticals and these theories, but and these ideas, right? Interesting ideas that these fans might have. It might be the best idea on earth, but if that writer hears it and then ever does anything even close to it, and that other person has a record of that interaction or anything like that, then like it's so much trouble. It's just again, that's just not how this industry can function as a sausage grinder. It's just not. Just it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Um, Next part. Ideas are great, but the majority of the work is developing that idea into a viable story. Bingo. It would be great if we could just drop idea bombs everywhere and have other people do the hard work, but that's not how this stuff happens. Um, like in the 60s, that is how Marvel functioned. Stan would drop idea bombs. The artist would draw them, then Stan would write them. But that is 60 years ago almost, right? And much smaller, more intimate company situations. And even then, at the end of the day, like people involved in that situation got fucked hard. Like hard. So it was not optimal. And again, you can't. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and it's something that again, new creators and folks, it's a bit of naivety that you really have to have kicked out of you if you even want to like interact with the industry at all. This whole stream of thought should be understood. I never had, well, not to be to be fair. So I started writing comic scripts, right? I wrote Jack stuff, but I wanted to write more, so I wrote a major alt universe. I don't even know if I finished it. I don't know how long it is. We'll have to check that out one time. Fan script for a Marvel event, and I didn't know crap about quite a few of the characters I used at that time or anything. I just like, I want to do this. It's a great exercise and have a great opening scene. I love my opening scene for that book. I still do. I think it's really cool, and it's something that Marvel hasn't ever really done once. Um, there's something close with Punisher and the Marvel Universe. There's a scene that's similar, but not how I executed it in that script, and I think it's really cool. It's a great idea, but it's I never had like any like bones that I'm gonna pitch it to Marvel now and they're gonna make it. These are giant corporations. These are entities that are exceedingly rigid and have a very defined system. Um, and there are looser systems outside of that that allow entrance to that system, right? But nothing close enough to the heart of it that you can skip a bunch of fucking steps. It's never gonna happen. And like myself and my work, it's likely unless somehow insanity occurred that like it's you're on your own in this industry. Like no question, because again, it's a business and business can breed wonderful interactions and all of that great stuff, networking, learning. There's so much beauty in it, but the machinery as set, you have to pull the levers in a very proper order and have the opportunities at the time, and he talks about this. But anywho, ideas are great, but the majority of the work is developing that idea in a viable story, and that's a lot of why these people have these gigs is because Marvel wants to work with them and um, their you know pedigree in a lot of cases. There's something specific they want from that artist or writer or team, as seems to be the case with quite a few. Is actually a lot of people come up the industry together, and not just by themselves as well, and not just on an idea, but on work, which he'll talk about. Howdy Diggy. Howdy, howdy. I do like me some networking as well. I do indeed. And thank you for stopping in and saying howdy. Appreciate it. Um, it would be great. Yeah, again, the idea, and we talked about Stan and Jack, and that's kind of how they did a lot of early Marvel, but that ended up being actually quite awful down the line when they got quite a bit of success. So it's and it was, you know, rigid team working for themselves. It wasn't like some outsider pitching stuff. It's not how it works. Um, And then he gives an example. He really enjoys cooking and he appreciates the praise he gets online when he posts food photos. But I would never ask a professional chef if I could just send them my random recipe idea, have them figure out if it works, and then put that recipe on TV. It sounds strange, right? Yes, it does. And that's why, again, I think this was a kid. If it wasn't, then it was a very naive adult, which, of course, it could be. But yeah, again, it's not how the sausage is made. Um, if you're intent on self sabotage by telling me you're doing something really dumb, right away, again, that's not the way you pitch an idea either. You should be super excited about it. You should be super stoked about it. You should have something to light the fire under somebody else's ass, right? To do it. And this note, of course, it doesn't do it. It avoids that. It's definitely a lot of self-deprecation because you know in your heart that this industry doesn't work this way. You even say that. And basically, what this was a vent. I think it's like I have to try so I can put it behind me. It's okay. There are lots of moments like that in life, but it's not optimal if you're trying to at the very least network with this person. At the very least, right? Like even if they can't hear your idea or they can't, you could have had a different type of interaction had you have come in more excited. But I don't know. Like it's not. I'm not successful at that. I did my own thing. Um, so again, listen to Jim. um, know it will be rejected because no, ain't nobody want to deal with that. And also know the formatting of your message is poor, which he says, and works against any hope of looking even remotely professional. So how do you expect them to react? Exactly. Like what avenues are you leaving this person to try and do something positive for you? Because there's a quite a chance that they at the very least want to be encouraging, right? Even if they have to reject it. You have to leave room for encouragement or at least some kind of enjoyment that they can express. Like I really liked hearing how meeting you. That that'd be wonderful at the very least. But didn't leave that room in this one. Did not leave that room. Appreciates the praise, of course. Everybody appreciates that, and thankful that folks like their work, and he's glad that he feels like he's a person he can approach in this weird moment when you're flailing and looking for some kind of perch for your creativity. I think I have felt this way in the past. No joke. I get it. So have I. I think most creators have those like I have to do something kind of moments, and that's what this is, right? The easiest thing, and this is the most common thing you will find, would have been for him to ignore this, but he knows how painful it is to throw messages out in the universe and feel like they just get swallowed whole without any response at all. I eventually you become numb to that. Um, at least in like a general sense. Once you've been like pitching very hard for years to these machines, I think you understand how they work, right? And unless you hit the right time and the right phrasing and the message finds the right person again at the right time, you can even find the right person and it's just the wrong time, likely nothing's going to happen of it. And most major publishers from like even Dark Horse up have stopped responding to submissions they have no interest in. Like they won't even say we received your work, or that we've rejected their work. They'll just like, nope, nay, nobody got time for that, and then they just continue going about their business, and you have no idea. Um, so this is a little bit. This, of course, as Zub says, is like it would have been easier to just follow that path, which is the standard. That I'm surprised again. It's a bit of naivety that new creators should have kicked out of them. And I say new creators, I don't even know if this person's done anything. It sounds like they don't have any interest in anything. They just like, it looks like they maybe have some interest in writing because like I don't even think I'd be the writer, but so I think that's what that's coming from. Again, you can't swing at a mountain and expect it to crumble. So instead, I figure it's useful to advise you and countless other people who feel the way you do and don't know where to direct their efforts. Um, this is the best part of it, basically, is where you're putting this energy, it's not going to work. Um, Again, I find it very surprising how many folks, because I've seen it again and again, uh, think that this is how it could work. Um, Miracles in business are rarer than fucking unicorns, man. You're not gonna. Very unlikely. Very unlikely. So what he explains is kind of how he came up, and that's the best way to have approached the situation, I think. Jim Zub actually does run a ongoing, I think, bit that talks about, and I think he links it down here, folks are interested, about how he came into the industry and how he would break into comics. When I got into comics and wanted to figure out a way I could break in, before I even found an artist or any of that, and I was just writing random scripts, I had researched how to break into comics. Uh, there's only one way to break into comics, and that is to make comics. Um, and that is expressed here in a second. But uh, most information I saw there is that, and that's super disheartening because it's like, well, how do I make comics if I'm not in comics? And it's like, dude, you don't have to be in comics to make comics. You just have to put in the work and have something desire and the drive to assemble something, right? As a writer and just a writer, you better be able to assemble and run a team. That's the kind of folks that these businesses would rather work with to begin with, right? It's less weight on them. Uh, they're not interested in training folks, they're interested in using folks. And I really use that word very specifically. Again, they want the product at the end of the day. They don't want, they would love artistic product, but at the end of the day, they want product. So they need people that can produce product. If you can personally uh, make artistic product, all the better. I think they will prefer that in most cases, but they are just happy with somebody who can consistently deliver product. And this hopes and dreams and the industry, this whole thing, right, is to break into comics, you got to make comics. Vision you might have here of randomly reaching out to a professional and them graciously pulling a complete stranger 10 rungs up the ladder towards their dream is not going to happen. Yes, I think you know that, but in case there's any doubt, now you know. That's not how it can't work that way. Like, there are chances where you have been friends with somebody a long time and then they try and do something like that for you. That does happen in the industry quite consistently. In fact, I think it's happened more and more in the recent decade, I would say. But that is personal networking, not random stranger reaching out. Like that, that does not happen. Um, Luck is not a career path. Grabbing lottery tickets is not financial advice. He subscribes to the time plus hard work plus preparedness model of making stuff happen. And if you knew me enough to reach out, I would have hoped that would be pretty clear. Again, I think this is a kid. I think this is a kid who has no idea how the sausage is made. If you don't have a body of work and an editor interested in seeing a pitch, you won't be able to show your stories to Marvel DC and get them published. They won't hire you to write stories for them until you've established yourself in comics or another storytelling medium. Bingo. Um, And that's the thing. These big guys, people think that you can just jump to them. It's not how it's worked. And honestly, they can't survive in a system where that's how it worked, right? But a lot of people don't respect the indie scene. Like they don't care about it. They have no interest in it. And it is the only steps up the ladder if you even want to try and tackle that behemoth. Um, it's just yeah. Again, if you're going, you could screenwrite. You could do a bunch of other types of artistic work that is relative to comics, and then make a name for yourself there, and come into comics. We've seen that again and again, but you're not stepping first foot into Marvel or DC, even with something as simple as an idea to somebody else. Super naive, and I think if you're thinking like that, you are so very much wasting your very precious and very limited time. Um, and then we talk about time. So then he kind of shows a very shorter kind of summary of his timeline in comics. So in '01, so 21 years ago, he started making his own comics, which is how you start. Uh, 4 years later, he was actually paid to write for someone else for the first time. I started making my own comics, quote unquote, about 4 years ago. Um, getting them out. And then to get paid for it, I think it was just late 2019. I actually got a gig to make a very short comic for somebody else. Um, that was wonderful. His 10 was his breakout book, and that's the big one right there. Like that's when you actually get your notoriety, something actually really hit. And I'm guessing between these two, there was quite a few works. Then 5 years after that, he started getting the regular work at Marvel because he had a breakout book, he had a name, he had a pedigree that Marvel could utilize. And then there you go. And then since he's been doing the work he can get, right? And that's a better part of 7 years and just doesn't stop creating. Everyone's career follows a different path, but even with dedication and skill, it takes time. He could have cut that timeline much, much shorter if he had dedicated himself to making more comics right off the bat. But instead, he took a meandering path filled with different experiences that ended up helping him in other unexpected ways. Um, you just gotta live life and just be persistent. Uh, you have to create work worth paying for before anyone will pay you for it. Bingo. Create something as best you can, complete it, release it, learn from the feedback, internal or external, likely both. Repeat the process while looking for ways to grow. It's that easy and also that difficult because it is a different type of sausage grinder, but it's still a grinder. You have to do the work and train, right? Like nobody just steps into fucking karate and becomes the champion because somebody else who has been a champion said, I'll help you out, like right away. Is not how it works. They trained hard, they worked hard, they practiced, they did the work. This is true for any creative pursuit: writing, art, music, acting, games, you name it. In 99% of cases, the people you think appeared from nowhere with an instant career have been grinding it out for years in obscurity. Exactly. Even then, it's possible to do everything right, but never get the opportunities you hope for. Exactly. That creating has to be satisfying enough to keep doing it anyway, which I have found it certainly is. Fame and fortune can't be the end all goal, or you'll never have the tenacity to see it through. And you have to have tenacity. Is what I mean. I put it into my book. Tenacity will help you through anything, and that's the point. It's a little bit different than stubborn. It's possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. Exactly. Um, Even me here telling you how to do it is flawed. It's a survivor's paradox. It's not as bad as a lottery winner telling you their numbers, but it's also no guarantee. Time plus hard work plus preparedness is the only consistent way he's seen to stack any odds at all in your favor. Um, and then he acknowledges this part, which was also part of my Westerners calling their work manga conversation. Out of thousands and thousands of kids who grew up dreaming of creating stories for D&D, Conan, and the Avengers, he somehow squeaked out a win. What a ridiculous and wonderful thing I never imagined would happen. That's the bit, and that was part of my conversation with Zach Davison on manga, right? Is that there's no one path up the mountain. I don't want pros to discourage people from creating, and I think this is a good example of someone giving advice and not being discouraging. Whereas Zach Davison's bit was how he had phrased it was quite discouraging, and that's why I had any of that interaction with him. Um, However, I think this is much better because he even acknowledges how rare it is to be part of making that sausage happen. The saying, being in the right place at the right time, is true. But what doesn't get said enough is that the right place, right time happened because he created all kinds of places and times with his own time, hard work, and being prepared. You have the opportunities you create. That's a big one. And this person was trying to create an opportunity without the hard work, the history, or anything. Just a random connection. And that's not even a personal connection, just a random connection. I have the ability to message this random guy. That's not going to happen. You have a better chance randomly pitching or submitting work to a major publisher directly, like way better chance, and that chance is still like not there. So yeah, make stuff, and so here's his link to that if you're interested in checking that out. I'm guessing it's a lot of how Jim Zub broke in. Um, but make stuff, make friends, make the most of any opportunities that come of it all, and then see where the winding road leads you. You don't know your path. This is very true until you're walking it. But step one is make stuff. How you break into comics? You make comics. That has to come first, not random desperate messages to strangers. That's the bit. That kind of covers all of that. Um, I just wanted to talk about this because, I think there is a stage in every kid who wants to make comics. Like there's a stage in between actually getting to make comics and wanting to make comics where you're like this, where you think there's all these opportunities out there. I just have to take the shot, and that's no. You have to make those opportunities actually exist. It isn't just again a random stranger talking to a random stranger and magic happens. Not how it goes. Not how it goes. But yeah, folks, that was just a quickie chat on that. I just wanted to cover that bit. Um, I call this hope, dreams, and the industry. So you can hope that something like this can happen. It's not going to happen. It's just not how the machinery works. You can have a dream of making comics or seeing this idea exist, but again, it's not how the machinery works. Um, that's just how it goes. You have to understand how the machinery works, and even if you do, again, you may be locked out of it. It's just how it goes. Like you could do the best effort you could do your whole career, and they just ain't interested because there are so many other options that they are already looking at. That's the bit. You have to somehow make an entrance, make a name, make a reason, and even then, still might not work, especially with how tight knit the industry is these days. But I could see a random kid thinking that they could do this because when I started, I didn't think I could just randomly message a stranger and get it, but I did randomly message publishers with a new idea that had work to it, but it was a new idea from unproven creative team. It was not going to happen. So instead, I took the opportunities I could find, and I have now been making comics because I did that. And that's the first step, finding your path to those hopes and dreams. And I'm a big proponent of indie. I don't think you should be giving your soul over to these sausage grinders. Um, but that is completely up to you. And if that's the path you want to take, understand it is a very hard mountain to get up. And you have to take many other paths to even get at the foot of that mountain. Um, And I'm just happy doing the work I do right now. And if other opportunities present themselves, great. I would love to rise to those occasions. But I have work for my own soul to do. And I think most comic creators over time are going to, and even we're seeing it from big creators, are realizing that these grinders are great to get a name, but after they've used you, there's a point where you have to decide if you just want to use them now. And we're seeing quite a bit of that where people are just like, yeah, I can do all this. We saw it with Image, right? That was a big one. The formation of Image. That was one of the big like awareness moments. It's like, well, why are we giving our souls over to this so we can do our own thing? And they could, but they had no idea what they were doing. And those were seasoned professionals. Uh, so enjoy it. Like enjoy the learning process, enjoy the creation process. It's my favorite part of all of this. Like I love talking to you folks on these. I love meeting new folks and talking about things, and I'm having to get onto that saddle again quite hard soon for Jack 4. And there's all kinds of worry with those interactions, but at the end of the day, I have to take the opportunities I have available to continue creating because that's what I did to start creating. That risk, that challenge is ever present in a artistic career. And so you need to understand that, again, in lotto ticket as he used as a metaphor there. Um, uh, no. No, your hopes and dreams should not be placed on a lotto ticket. They should be built. They should be shorn up. They should be presented and defended. They should be shared. They should be grown, uh, not just thrown out into the ether and like that'll work. Not how it works. Howdy, Mrs. H. Welcome, welcome. I don't know how much of this you caught. We were just winding down because I had to kind of keep it quick. I've got 5 minutes though, at least, so that's good. Um, didn't call this a Cody Comics and Coffee, even though I could have, because this coffee is like grit, and I didn't have much of it, and we weren't going to talk too long. I guess the last thing I'll do is update on Jack 4, share the link just because so I can. The ritual, you do the work. Even if it is very unlikely it finds new audiences who has not already either been aware of it and are waiting to back it, or aware of it and are not going to back it. Um, if you're on this channel, you're aware of my work. But you practice, you perform, you show your love and appreciation for the work you do. Even if you're yelling at a brick wall. That's again the only way I got here is I was yelling at a brick wall and enough people passed by and liked what I was saying. Uh, do the ritual, do the work. Go outside is what I'm guessing. You caught most of it, been doing housework. Oh, right on. Yeah, I was just talking about Jim Zub because I thought it was a wonderful comparison to how Zach Davison had talked about not using the term manga for your work. I think it was a great counterpoint because I think he handled this much better. He wasn't telling people what to do, he was telling people what they can do. He was letting people know compared to telling people to. And there is a massive difference there. And Zach Davison had intended to be helpful, just like Zub here intended to be helpful. The intents were very similar, the executions were very different. And I just kind of thought it was a good follow up from yesterday's. How do you make coffee, man? It ain't supposed to be gritty. I make it poorly. I've got a shitty machine that's like 10 years old. I have really shitty little paper, and I probably over put coffee in it. So when the water's in there, it probably drags some of the grit and then puts it through and then runs it in, right? Like I'm just bad at making coffee. I just need it done, right? And this was the last. This was the bottom of the pot, also. So that's how it goes. uh, how it goes. As long as I get some caffeine in my system, usually I'm golden, even if it's not the best expression of that. And thanks for stopping by, Nefarious. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. So let's check this out. Let's check this out. besides this, we're not checking this out again. But you know what? I will just because it is relevant, and if anybody stops by, especially new creators, and they can't find this thread, no, it's not a cone. Well, it's kind of a cone, but it's a cone with a flat end. I don't know if you'd still call that a cone. I guess you would. Just a closed cone um, filter. It's a cheap filter too. So that's the link to Zub's tweet here where he links how do I break into comics. If anybody is interested, I'm sure he has some wonderful information. Again, when I started out, I was checking out all kinds of these threads. And to be fair, a lot of the information is very personal, right? They're sharing their journey, so that's not going to work for you. But the number one thing that will show up in all of them is make comics. That's the only way to do it. And you're not going to start on Spider-Man. You're not going to start in Marvel or DC. You're not even going to start on something smaller, right? You're going to start on your own thing or maybe with another talent and it's your team's thing. But you're not starting on these big IPs. And again, I think this was just a kiddo who had like a burning desire and thinks he has this great idea. Well, you save that, you do the work, and in like 15 years, I'd love to see this kid actually put out that work. But you don't go from 0 to 150. You go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, all that. So that was kind of the point of this. You need a fine grind for those. Again, I buy the cheapest coffee too. Flat bottom filters take auto drip grind. I don't know any of these terms, Mrs. H. You're leveling up my coffee knowledge, but now I'm scared. All right, here's Jack number 4. We are we are amazingly at, to be fair, in like what, 4 days it's been, 4.5 maybe. We are at 3K and $2, 47 backers. I'm hoping to hit 50 tonight. I will be on with Dojo Kun Comics. I linked their channel in the promotional tweet earlier. I'll do that again throughout the day. It'll be about, for me, it'll be 8 p.m. MST. I think he is East Coast, so it's 10 p.m. EST. It is a late night stream for most folks, but I still hope to see you folks there. I'll be on with Mitch Breitweiser, and I believe a community manager for Allegiance Arts. Remember her first name's Kat. And of course, Clint Stoker, who Sweetcast people might know his channel. I've been on with him at least a couple times. Wonderful cat, great work ethic, very kind, loves doing the work, works with great artists. So I'm excited to talk to Clint again. That'll be fun. And it should just be a good time talking about this. It's honestly to be on the par with a lot of these creators is I think it's a great opportunity. I'm pretty stoked to talk about that because Mitch has been working in the industry forever, and I know there have been plenty of road bumps with Allegiance Arts, but they did a lot of things nobody else did. They had the chutzpah to try those things and the mentality to actually manifest those opportunities. And just from that perspective, coupled with the amazing creative talent, um, very cool, very cool. I have no idea what their like now game is because a lot of the heat has changed for Allegiance, but I'm super excited to talk about it. And I believe I'll also be on with Kelsey Shannon. I'll also be on with Kelsey Shannon, who has worked with them for a long time, and a lot of folks in our little corner of indie know Kelsey, and I think they like him quite a bit. And I don't think I've ever spoken to Kelsey, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun. And I'm always super interested on what like other creators think of our work because I'm a little baby creator, just a tiny little baby creator, and I think we have really cool work for how long we've been doing it. So I'm super excited to see how that shakes out. I really am. Um, let me see. Oh, I've missed quite a bit. Howdy Bullet Ninja Hagelman. Welcome. I do not recognize your handle, so I appreciate you stopping in and saying howdy in your own way. What if you fill all the check boxes? I may have lost the context that you were referring to. My short-term memory can be excellent with like numerics and certain phrasings, but it is terrible with moment-to-moment ideas. So I do apologize. If you want to refresh me on what the checkboxes are, let me know. You might have been referring to the way that some hiring works, which I didn't talk too much about. Um, but even then, like there are thousands of other people who hit all those check boxes. I think the networking aspect and knowing the right people, and then also having those check boxes, you're more likely to succeed. I don't think just having all the check boxes is more than just a tool in your bag. You still need the experience. You still need some sort of notoriety, and most importantly, you need that connection, a personal connection. In every relationship, each party uses the other. Yes, in some way. And the term uses, right, has many different connotations. When I refer to the industry, I do mean a negative one as best as I can. I tend to think that there is, like, they're getting notoriety out of it, but most of the time, these big machines. Uh, they need to produce a sausage more than that creator needs them to give them notoriety for it. It's just a escalator up this mountain, right? And I think a lot of creators are realizing once they're at the quote unquote peak from that escalator, why the fuck are they still on that same mountain? And we're seeing a lot of that, and I'm very happy for that because I think the more unique voices we can hear, the better off everyone will be. Um, Only when there's an imbalance is the relationship toxic. Yes, you want symbiosis. You don't want parasitism. Is that a word? You don't want a parasite in the relationship. You want symbiosis. You want harmony because harmony boosts frequency and it becomes stronger and louder. Always make sure you're getting what you're giving in terms of effort. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Yep. Mrs. H, coffee is friend. Do not fear coffee. I don't know. These grinds are pretty spooky. Got to chew on them. No, we're talking about symbiosis. I need to become more symbiotic with my coffee. Coffee is life. I agree, Bullet Ninja. I used to, for a long time, I didn't. And then for a long time, I'd only do it because basically every gig I've ever had, well, not ever had, but every gig I've had like in the last 5, 6 years has been like waking up really early. So eventually I adopted coffee. Once you hit 22, 23, I've needed to have that extra bit of caffeine to be in an optimal position to do things like this and to get up and go do the physical activity I tend to do in all my gigs. Um, Hail coffee, bringer of wakeness. Yes, yes, much better than bringer of wokeness. If you're woke, you've already been awake. Uh, doesn't work so well, does it? Only real cowboys chew coffee. Bingo, bingo. I thought about trying other alternatives because I'm a big fruit guy. So like there are the caffeine laden gamer stuff, and I thought, well, you know what, that might taste better and possibly easier to make in the morning. And I thought about it, I was like, but it's so full of sugar, and my diet is already just crammed full of shit I don't need mainly for comfort, right? So I think coffee's better. Coffee's better for that. It's what spittoons are for. Sure, sure. It's not for the tobacco. It's not for the tobacco. But back to this. Over 3K in 4 days. Incredible, folks. Honestly, I don't know when we've last done that. We have certainly we didn't do it on the Kickstarter. We didn't do it on Cactus Coyote. That was $700 in 2 months. I don't feel like we did 3K in 4 days on Jack 3. Jack 3 was an interesting grind. A lot less output on my end, and then somehow the community saved it the last day. I love that tale, and it's super inspiring to me. The reason, and I've talked about this, there was a huge hesitancy because partway through it, I was like, oh God, the world's changing. Everybody's now not allowed to work, quote unquote, everybody, right? And a lot of other insanity. Um, and it was just crazy to see that. Just crazy the timing and just how the community came together to make that happen. The final day. Insane. So I am so glad I rose to that additional challenge that I had already been like, oh, it's okay. It's not going to fund. I can rework the campaign and we'll get it next go. Oh, wait, you guys are doing it. You guys are doing it. Oh shit. Okay, let's do this. And that's how I approached issue 3. And I was very happy to. It was quite a lesson in the actual, I'm gonna call it the magic our work has been able to build. It was a wonderful testament to that. I still have not seen another campaign rally like that. Fucking crazy. Um, this one I don't want to have to do that, however. This one I don't want to have to, the last day be worried like, can we pull another fucking huge fire out of nowhere? No, thank you. No, thank you. It was a miracle once. I don't need to ask for two miracles, at least two of the same miracle. We're hopefully doing a different kind this time. It's going to be a slower, more perpetual application of intent and community. And we'll see if that will work because I think that's kind of what we did to get issue 2 out. And I think that was a wonderful journey. And it's time to kind of return to that journey, I think. I think that's important. Um, so we're there. Check out the campaign page. Oh, it's actually changed too. Look at that. So we'll look at these pretty much useless metrics. Link in chat to the campaign if you haven't checked it out yet. Um, these metrics are useless, particularly in our work, because it was showing that we would hit nothing on issue threes, and then again the last day. It's just an idea, and it kind of can help you maybe kick yourself in the ass, keep it going. But right now we are trending to hit 15K, which is wonderful. Um, because yesterday we did not pick up a single backer, so it kind of goes all over the place, right? So it's not that useful, but it is another point of data I like looking at. Yeah, check it out. Issue 4, 20 bucks, $5 shipped continentally. No, not even continentally, US. I think it's the same price to go to Hawaii or Alaska. I think it's even the same to go to Puerto Rico. So that's very cool. $4 just to buy in if you got the previous issues. You can actually snag all 3 previous issues for $1 by joining our Patreon, which I know some people are not the biggest fan of Patreon. You can also join us on Global Comics and then message me and tell me that you are on Global Comics, and I will get you those books. Um, I just want readers and fans to enjoy the work we're doing. I think that's the key to continuing doing the work. There's a lot on the business end, right? But I don't think being stingy and sharing the work is a necessary component of that. It might be down the line when you have a machine built and it needs to operate in a specific way, but we don't have that machine built. We have a loose assembly, a loose contraption that we can kick fire here and there, right, to pump something awesome out. But we don't have a machine that is in constant state of maintenance and input. Um, Lots of time left. Lots more shows to go on. Promote so many. Thanks to Mr. Nefarious who showed up in chat. Again, very much appreciated. Kicking me in the ass there because my hunger has changed over the years, and particularly since last year, like. I'm a different person than I was when I started this out, and in some very good ways, as well as some hard ways. And I definitely have become more timid with experience. And I don't need to be. I wasn't timid to start off with at all. I was just loud and stoked to share my work and stoked that people were actually checking it out. And I need to get to that mode again. I got comfortable. I got, not going to say lazy because there's a lot of other work I'm doing, right? Like personal work, physical work, spiritual work. Um, but this component is super important, and I'm stoked to be back on that trail. I've again, but it is staring over a ledge. It's rolling a bunch of dice, and I have no idea if some cases are gonna be negatives, but I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt it. I think things will come up as they should and as they need to be. Need to. Uh, Issue number 1. Nobody's picked up just an issue number 1, which I find kind of interesting. There's a limited amount of these, but it also means that like anybody who wants to buy into our series so far that we've been chatting to is more than happy to get everything. without even checking out what issue number one is. And that's I did this tier just like somebody who's timid, doesn't have much to give, but wants to start out and help us out now. So I'm kind of surprised we haven't sold any of those. But we'll see. I think it'll pick up as new readers come up and don't really have the capital to invest on a big old bundle like that. That was the idea. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Of course, the digital bundle, if you do want all four, but you don't mind it non-physical, you got that. And we've had quite a few like international backers. Quite a few. There's four folks, and I think they are actually all international who bought into the digital bundle because it is significantly cheaper. Like getting all four issues digitally is like half the price of simply shipping out the one book internationally. It's a fucking crime. There is a better way out there. We just haven't hit it, and the world's in such a weird place that I don't think we're gonna hit it anytime super soon. I think getting your books through Amazon right now, like after a campaign, is about the best way to mitigate those shipping costs for international folks. But right now, if you're international and you want to support a book physically, you're gonna have to bite that bullet, and it sucks. But that's how it is. You can't change. Again, it's part of the machinery, right? It's part of the rigidity of how the machine works right now, and you can't do much to offset that, sadly. Um, I don't really expect many of these to go, but if anybody wants them, they are completely readable. I have a video down below discussing what these misprints are and what the errors are, and I'm happy to all the time when I'm asked about them. I think they're completely legible. There's like no way it's not smeared. It doesn't even fuck with the art much. It's just like a pixel. Like instead of being a very solid, precise line, some of it is just a little pixel jiggly, and that occurs in some of the lettering as well, but it's not. You have to look fucking close. Again, I had to look at an issue that wasn't and it to notice it. And then there's that crease. The crease is the thing that really got me pissed off. When I was dealing with it, was like this crease. Somebody was not watching the machine. Somebody wasn't doing their job. But we fixed that out and ended up with these issues, and we'd love to do something with them. And it is a huge amount of support you give us if you're picking these up. Not only are you offloading weight that we have that you can give away, you can share. Like this is a great way to share comics with a kid who doesn't take care of stuff. It's a great way to share what I think is a kind of an inspirational tale and a gentle way to introduce. It's what I needed. It's the story I needed when I was becoming a man, going from the childhood to adulthood, that transitionary period of awareness where you start seeing. I talk a lot about mechanics. You start seeing the mechanics and the mechanisms of the world and the history of that machine and the possible futures of that machine. And if you're any kind of intelligent person, it can really overwhelm you very quickly. And Jack is a middle finger to that, and hopefully a spiritual center to push forward through it. It has been for me. That's why I do it. So I think any way you can read the tale, if it's up your alley, or any way you can get the book into somebody else's hands, I think is a good thing. Now that's of course very biased because I want to make more of it, but I also just think it really is just a good thing, whether I'm biased or not. Um, and then of course this and the standee. I will show those again. These are roughs and they are changing significantly from this. That's why I haven't placed the picture of it on the campaign yet. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that. Um, but grab it right here, and then I'll have to go full screen so you folks can see it. We do have these standees in a way. This is acrylic. We're doing wood. This is half the size of the standee that I want it to be. And it is also, Mrs. H, if you're still listening, I might have a smaller gig for you if you're willing to do it for me. God, it doesn't look like that's focusing for shit, is it? Really isn't. If you've seen our BoogieBot pinup, it's just that art on acrylic, right? Big deal. But it is, you can also get scale from my hand, right? We're going twice this size, and Mrs. H, you're the person I know that might be able to do this work, which is to cut the image out of the background so that we will have a less, it wouldn't be a square image, it would be a actual outlined standee, about twice that size. It doesn't change what I budgeted for them, which is nice to go twice as large. I really should have before I ordered the figure because it took a couple weeks to get them. I really should have actually changed the millimeters that this British company works in into inches, and then I would have had a better idea of the size, and I would have ordered twice as large. But that's where we're at there. Again, if you're listening, Mrs. H, that is a gig I might have for you if you're interested. Just to cut that image out so that it's better when I present it to the printer for the finals. Um, but that's that. You get a standee. It's probably gonna be about that big. About twice. Yeah, it's gonna be about that big and cut out. Only time we're gonna offer that specific standee, all that fun stuff. Um, yeah. And then, of course, we only have one original page left on A4, which is this smaller uh, print. We were able to sell 3 of these original pages, which I'm sure is going to make Maxie really happy. I have an idea to, once we have the cover uh, at least sketched out, but I think I would like the cover, which is the last thing we do. I will add a tier to sell the cover as a last minute bonus, and charge a premium for it. And basically, 90% of the funding here goes straight to Maxi on these pages, to buy them from Maxi so I can sell them, right? Um, and I think that's just a great way to show your support for he and I collaborating, right? That's a great way to show that you value our collaboration and not just his art or just my work. I think it's a great way to help ensure that we can continue collaborating. I'm exceedingly appreciative of everything he's done for our work. Jack does not exist without Maxi as far as I'm concerned. There are ways I could continue without him, right? There's a million ways, but that is not what I want to do. This expression that we've been able to manifest as a team, including Steve and Vince, and now Nico Buffo, our new graphic designer, and Mrs. H, like what Team IronVerse Comics has been able to manifest is very important to me. Every aspect of that, every ingredient in that magic is super important to me, and I don't want to change it. And this is a great way again to show your support for it, particularly since I think he and I have been working together almost 7 years now, which has been an incredible journey. Again, I wouldn't be in comics without that fella. And I think he probably would have been without me, but he'd be in a different place. Um, send you the file and you can do it quickly. You're buckling down this week to finish the Rise Man comic for Neo, but I can do that real quick. Thank you, Mrs. H. We're in no rush at all, like at all, because it's already sold, so I can't change the picture on here, right? I can't do that. Um, and even if I was to order the wooden standee, it would be about 3 weeks till I get it. So it's basically I don't want to wait to know that we're funded to do it, but we can be closer to the finish line. So next month, right? Like no rush at all, Mrs. H. But I'm glad you're willing to do it, and thank you. We'll definitely talk about it down the line, but don't worry about it being on your plate right now. And I saw those new tones today on her Patreon. Please check that out. Amy Fusco on Patreon puts out a very fun book, and is putting out another very fun book right now through with Stephen Kirkpatrick, Neostar Productions. I love those tones. From what you said, it's taking longer than you think, which means you do enjoy it. You're losing yourself at the time, right? I love hearing that from artists. It means you hit that flow, and that flow state is just so beautiful. But I can see it does bring it up an extra level. It's totally worth the effort, Mrs. H. Beautiful work. Um, where are the Jack Irons Ironclad NFTs? Oh, so that's a whole nother thing. I think I do want to talk about NFTs at some point, because I have a very nuanced opinion on NFTs. I think a lot of people have a similar opinion, but you don't hear the nuanced ones so much as they are the worst thing to ever exist or they are the best thing ever. Um, Yeah, I have a nuanced opinion on NFTs. Suffice to say, as it currently is, I have zero interest in manifesting that, particularly because I would rather leave that to the artists than buying the artwork and then relisting it to make a profit off of it via digital, which the artist could do anyway. The only difference would be, I have the IP, right? So, uh, they don't exist, is the shortest answer, Liza Bar. They likely will not exist for some time. Because of the machinery around NFTs right now. That's the best and most concise way I can say that. Not that you're actually interested in it, because a lot of the time you are not quite ribbing me, but nudging just to see what pops out. So I'm not sure if that was serious or not. I'm terrible at that. I address every situation as dead serious, and that's not always great. But everyone says Fusco. Thank you, Cody. Is it Fusco? Oh, you said my name right. Oh, it's right above there. Well, yeah, that's what I expected. That's how I pronounce it. It sounds like the proper name, Fusco. It doesn't sound right. It's Fusco. I'm assuming maybe not Italian, but some kind of Latin, right? Latin root. So I'd assume the O. I'd assume both vowels are the strong version, right? So good. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. I believe it's Fusco, and I was right. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. Um, but yeah, that pretty much covers it. We don't have anything new to announce with the campaign just yet. Just that we will be live streaming pretty consistently again tonight on Dojo Kun. Let's see if I have something else this week. Also, Eliza Bar, I did send you a Discord message. I did not check if you responded, so there's that. Dujacone. Tomorrow, um, I have Hekako from well, we don't. I don't think we set a time too rigid, so I'll announce that next. And then I don't have anything rigidly set till next Monday, so I'll be announcing that as we go. I actually took a lot longer on the stream than I expected. I actually need to be out of here in 5 to 10 minutes. So I love you, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on Kiddo, and I will catch you on that Rusty IronVerse Comics trail. You take care and keep those hopes and dreams alive. Don't feed it to the machine unless you are prepared to make the sacrifices necessary for that sausage to come out the way you want. I guess that kind of summarizes the whole stream. Take care, folks.